I call them just the textbook workbook for thought, speech, and or action for victims of racism. The basic title is a long title, the United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept, but that has to be described within the book itself. But in order for people to understand what the book is really about, and the additional word guide that's just in addition to the basic book, it's a textbook, workbook for thought, speech, and or action for victims of white supremacy. And white supremacy is racism, and racism is white supremacy. And all that is explained in the book, too. Also, it's directed to the individual person, not directed to so-called, quote, unquote, organizations as such. Because everything starts with the individual. So that's the title of the book. Textbook, workbook for thinking, speaking, and acting for each individual who is a victim of racism. Now, some people will say, I'm not a victim of racism. Well, it wouldn't apply to them. It would apply to someone who's affected by racism, or they think that they're affected by racism, or they think that they may in the future be affected by racism, or that they have been in the past affected by racism. But it's addressed to them to think about and then to speak on it, and what to say and how to say it, and what are the best actions to take for an individual in all 9 areas of activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. And that takes in most of the things that people do from minute to minute on the planet. As of this moment, I wouldn't gamble on that, regardless of how it appears on the surface. Because of what? I believe what, that using the Godfather terminology, that if the white supremacists decide to push a button on all of that, and the button will not be pushed necessarily when you start talking about atomic energy, the button will be pushed on how trade is negotiated. What ships will be on what ocean at any given time, hauling what goods where, and what the value of these goods, of these materials will be. The white supremacists, in my opinion, still determine that. So anybody who can determine what your work is worth will determine what you are worth, just because they have always been, and even when they didn't appear to be. That's the only thing that I can say. See, I don't have evidence that white supremacy really exists, and I talk to many black people about this quite often, and many black people say that there's no such thing as white supremacy. I have been at many a seminar when I made that statement. Well, everybody starts looking puzzled, where people say, there's no such thing as this white supremacy. I mean, this guy is delusional. I mean, he's imagining things. I mean, he's in a pitiful condition because he's really just gone off. I mean, people should feel sorry for him because he's really out of tune. He's out of step. There's no such thing as white supremacy. That's long gone. That's been gone over 40, 50 years now. It's a thing of the past. Racism is dead. I mean, it doesn't affect anything. It might affect 1 or 2 people here and there, but overall, you can just go for it any way you want to. You don't have to pay any attention to anything about any such thing as some white supremacy. That's old hat. People will say that. But I don't think, unless I am delusional, and I could be, I don't see it. And until I actually see it in action, not theoretically, but it seems to me that everything that happens to white supremacy, supremacists, the usual suspects, and they are very refined in the way they go about doing it, they know how to make things seem what they're not. And therefore, we have a, black president, whatnot, and everybody says, that's it right there. That's right in your face. I mean, hey, we're on a roll. But I say, no, that is not true, because the white supremacists tell him what to do, the black president, each and every day, and what he better not do, either directly or indirectly. And you say, well, where's your evidence? Who are these white supremacists? I can't say who they are because they are so deceptive. And if I said it, just like you have said now yourself, where's my proof? I have no proof that there is such a thing as white supremacy or ever was, because I would have to prove it by the white supremacists themselves. It's just a belief that you either have to have or you don't. But there are a lot of black people who will say mysterious things happen to them on jobs, mysterious things happen to them in the field of entertainment, in the field of education when they try to get their offspring educated.